Hey YouTube, it's Mike here bringing you guys NHL 18 beta review about the good, the bad, and the ugly from a top 100 player. So those are my stats right here. Um, Not here to brag or anything. I just maybe people would like to hear a review from somebody that plays the game at a high level. So as we're doing the review, we're gonna have a little trees background in the back. I find it's the funnest mode. Well, it's the newest mode, and for me, it's the funnest mode in the new NHL series. Let's talk about the good things while we're watching a little bit of gameplay that's happening in the background. Um, One of my favorite things so far this year, one of the good things basically, is the fact that you cannot see your opponent no more when you're loading into a game. I love this, and I love this to a point I cannot even explain it. I mean, seriously, last year, how many times did you get people quitting on you on the opening screen? Now, this is considered for people that play mostly like HUT, but I mean, the amount of times that people would just rage quit, not rage quit, but I would just basically quit, just because they would see a Crosby, an Ovechkin, or whatever the reason was. Even if they would see your name, for example, they would see your name, they would be scared. Oh no, this guy's a top 100 or whatever it was. I felt like a lot of these stats and the ratings or competitor ratings, a lot of it was bullshit. Not only because it was also people cheating with like the syncing and the booting and all that bullshit, but there's two major things that we know they fixed. That at least it looks like they fixed. One of them, of course, is the opening screen. You don't see your opponent no more. I think that's a very good thing. I hope you guys think the same thing. The other thing, the syncing. Apparently, there's a couple people that have been trying to do it and it does not work. So I guess they fixed it. Other stuff they fixed. For example, Bacon Country came out with a video with the wraparound glitch. They fixed that one. I mean, the guy kept trying it over and over and over, and that didn't work. So I mean, there's certain things people were upset that, like the game feels like it's an update, like a patch basically of last year's game. But at the end of the day, I find that if it is, it's just basically a patch, a big patch that they couldn't fix last year, but they ended up fixing all the mistakes they did last year this year. For me, that's good. I'm gonna love the game even more because I think last year the game itself was actually pretty good. The only thing I didn't like, there was just way too much. The thing that bothered me the most, besides like the people that were cheating and all these quitters, I would say it would have to be the fact that my defense felt broken. I felt my defense was flat-footed so many times. I felt like they put me in a bad situation pretty much every game, many times, over and over and over, the same sequence. And that's another good thing about this year. I feel like the defense actually is better. The goalies seem better. There's less AI basically crashing their own net and putting the puck in. Does it still happen? Sure, it could still happen, but honestly, I played over 20 games, maybe even 30 games, and honestly, I haven't really seen it much. I mean, maybe once or twice it happened to me, and that's it. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, last year it just happened to me pretty much every few games, like, and sometimes it would happen a couple times in a game, so it would very frustrating. So anyway, those are the things I believe that's good. Of course, we don't know what's going to be in HUT. Besides, we heard that there's going to be a lower rating players. I personally like it. Some people don't like it. Me personally, I love it. I love the fact that basically the cards are going to start lower. So I feel like they have a better reason for them to basically upgrade those cards during the year. But it's all personal opinion. That's just my opinion. Anyway, so that's the stuff that I find good about the game. Of course, I like the fact that they add this new game mode that is actually very fun. It's also very competitive because there's a ranking to it, so it's cool. So whatever, I like it. The only game mode that I don't really play much is the EA Sports, but then again, I do end up playing a bit here and there, and I'm pretty sure it can be worse than last year, right? And last year was actually pretty good, at least from what I've played. So let's talk about the bad stuff. The bad stuff. Well, for me, the only thing I don't like is that when you play threes, for example, I feel like the game is so nice and smooth. And we're saying that it's nice and fast. The hitting is nice and crush the shit out of your opponent. You hardly ever get a penalty, And if you do get a penalty, it's a penalty shot, so that's amazing. But the fact is that the game feels so fast and so smooth as whenever you play the versus, the gameplay just feels weird. In a way, what I mean, it feels weird. Not that it feels weird, it just feels too slow. Now, I know that once, for example, HUD starts, you get upgrades, and there's better cards that come out. Maybe the gameplay gets faster. That's what I'm assuming. I hope it's that at least, because slow gameplay is boring. You like fast pace. I actually like the gameplay being a little bit more arcadish. The reason why I like it to be a little bit more arcadish is because the fact that the game is higher speed, I feel like, for me, I feel like there's more skill involved when the game is fast and paced because a person has to react. Do you guys like that goal, by the way? I feel like you guys have to react quicker, and for me, this is where I feel the competitive part, where the game is missing, where the game is just so slow that sometimes you're going for a hit or whatever, your opponent has like so much time to see the hit coming that I don't. It just doesn't feel realistic sometimes, by being so, having a game so slow. For me, that's the worst part of the game that I don't like. The other thing I don't like about the game, I still feel sometimes the passing. I feel the passing is off. I mean, there's moments where you want to make a simple pass, and basically, these are things they could fix because they're sliders. But I hope they fix it. Like I said, sometimes I feel like when you're passing, there's predictable passes that just don't go where they need to go. Um, So that's the only two real complaints I have about the game, to be honest with you. Other than that, the ugly. The ugly, the ugly is the cheaters. Hopefully we eliminate them. The fact is that how do you eliminate IP booting? You probably can't. And this is the ugly for every game, every competitive game. There's not much you can do about people that IP boot. Fortunate EA fixed the desinkers. They fixed us being able to see, not seeing our first, or basically our opponents. Are they still going to be 1 minute quitters? I believe so. Um, is, are they going to be penalized? We don't know yet. Till the game comes out, we don't know how that's going to work. Hopefully they penalize these 1 minute quitters. Personally, I think if you're winning 1-0 and a person quits because you scored the first goal, I don't care if it's the first 10 seconds, I think the guy should get a loss if he quits, because how can you determine a game based on whatever, first goal and first minute? What? Because all of a sudden um, you're guaranteed to lose the game because it's 1-0? Doesn't make sense. For me, those are the ugly parts of the game. I do want to say one last thing. There was an interview this year from one of the guys that worked for EA for basically FIFA. Okay, and the reason why I'm mentioning this is because a lot of people complained about ice tilt, or the game feels like it feels like there's a competitive how do you call it, a compressor or a gap or something. Is this true? I don't think it's true. I think the guy explained it correctly in a way that we could understand what exactly is this tilt. And what it was is that the guy asked him, is like, does it feel like sometimes I'm completely dominating my opponent and he's basically winning games that he shouldn't be winning? Like, why are my guys missing my shots? They're missing their passes. My goalie can't make a save. What's happening? So he basically said to the guy, he goes, that the reason why sometimes you feel like the game is tilted is because we put human error in the game. Because if you don't put human error in the game, I'll explain what human error is. The game will be perfect, and if the game will be perfect, your defense would always be at the right place, the poke check would always be correctly, your shot would always be perfect, everything you do would be perfect, and just the game wouldn't be fun no more because it would just everything be perfect. So what he did is basically put a human error in the game, where, for example, even if you're aiming for a pass or whatever, there's a percentage that your player that you're passing with or you're shooting with or whatever you're doing with, a deke, anything, there's a percentage in the game that he's gonna miss that. Okay, and personally, I don't agree with this, because if you have an open one-timer, why should I miss the pass? Why should my AI screw up? Like, in a way, saying, like, if he's under pressure or something, why should he screw up at that moment there when I got an open slot for a one-timer or something, or I got a 95 Malkin, I can't make a deke. I don't get that. I mean, I get the point that you don't want the shots to be 100%, so the shots don't go in every time. That I understand completely. But I mean, there are certain plays that sometimes I feel like the human error does mistakes at the wrong time for no reason. If there was like a different way to do it in a way that you know, like depending where you're standing or whatever, you know, the pressure you have on you, if you have a man on, then you would, you know, assume that you would make like easier mistakes, you know. But why just out of the blue people do mistakes? Anyways, hopefully the game is as good as it looks, and see you guys soon. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Have a good day, guys.